Yeah, Nick, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, I will. Thanks everybody for joining us for this Ignite informational webinar. We're so grateful that you joined us from wherever across the country you may come from. Just by way of introduction, my name is Nick Danes. I'm a graduate, I just graduated from Southern Virginia University with my bachelor's in psychology. I'm looking for a PhD in clinical psychology. And right now, my research interests revolve around emotional disorders and particularly the positive psychology and the science of the mind-body connection and how principles from those areas can help people heal. So that's a little bit about myself. I'm one of the speakers for the webinar today. I'll turn the time briefly over to Riddy and Quinn, who will introduce themselves as well, and then we'll get started.
And thank you so much for being here. I am the undergraduate ambassador for Ignite 2024. I just graduated with my bachelor's in psychology from the University of Southern California, and I'm starting my master's in applied psychology, which is like a organizational and consumer psychology master's this fall. I've been involved in research for a while. I've been at a neuropsychology lab and a social psychology lab on my campus for the past 2 to 3 years, and I think that's really helped me become passionate about research. And I'm really hoping to share that with more undergraduates through the Ignite conference. Yeah, right now.
Hey everyone, my name is Quinn Don Robinson. I'm currently pursuing my education specialist degree in school psychology with an emphasis in to become a licensed professional clinical counselor at Chapman University. My professional interests in school psychology include learning, researching, and developing the skills needed to create positive school climates and enhance teacher-student relationships. My clinical counseling interests are fostering ways to reduce the stigma behind psychotherapy and increase access to mental health support in underrepresented communities.
So as you see on the agenda here, we'll cover a few things. We'll talk about some registration details regarding the conference, some travel grants, what will take place at the conference, and then ways you can spread the word. And at the end, we'll have a Q&A session. So if you have any questions that pop up as we're going through, we'll take those at the end. So don't forget, write them down, and we'll try our best to answer them. Regarding the conference itself, let's see if we can get to the next slide. There we go. Ignite stands for Innovating Global Networks to Inspire Tomorrow's Experts. It's a one-day student-focused conference that is designated as a teaching training, or sorry, a research training and teaching conference. And it happens the day before the Psychonomics convention. The Psychonomics Society is a society for cognitive psychology. So if that interests you to attend that, you're totally welcome to and actually encouraged to attend. It's at the same place, the same hotel. That just requires a different registration. So you'd have to go onto their website, Psychonomics Society. We can drop that in the chat as well. And if you're interested in going to that one, you can register. If you register by the end of this month, you'll have the early bird registration rates. So if you're interested, you may want to jump on there. And on their website, they'll have uh, prices for students, members, non-members, and all that information's on there. So if you're interested, although this webinar is not necessarily for that, it's for what's happening the day before, which is Ignite. So that is taking place November 21st from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Marriott Marquis Hotel. If you're coming from out of town and need a place to stay, you're welcome to look for places in that hotel if there are openings. There may not be because of psychonomics, but there are other hotels that are probably much more affordable around that you'll be able to book. But the day itself, the convention is only a day, so if you're not too far away, then that might not be necessary. Let's go to the next slide. You'll notice that regarding who can register, it's not very exclusive. You don't need prior research experience. You don't have to be a psychology major. You don't even have to be a member of Psychi or even a US citizen. The main thing is that you just need to be a student that's enrolled in some sort of program, undergraduate or graduate, by the time the convention starts in November, or a faculty member. You'll notice on this slide, there's some information about travel grants, which I won't cover, but I'll turn the mic over to Riddy, who will talk about that and some other details about registration.
Thanks, Nick. Yeah, so as you can see for registration, it's open already. It closes on September 1st. Your first step is going to be to register online on the website. And then if you're eligible, you might want to apply for a travel grant, which I will get into later. So as you can see, there is no registration fee. It's free. They're not going to ask you for, credit card information, any financials of that sort. So you can just go in and sign up. It's a quick process. There will be an option to view via Zoom live stream, and a recording will be available later on the SciKai website. But when you register, it doesn't necessarily guarantee a spot. So spaces are really limited. So after you register, you're going to be notified of your status, so whether like you're in person or online, and what your status is regarding your travel grant by September 20th. That's the aim for SciKai. They're going to go through the applications and they're going to try to get back to you by September 20th. Like Nick mentioned, so it's a 1 day conference. And for that conference itself, you're going to have lunch, water, and a breakfast snack that's going to be provided through Ignite. But travel to the conference and the hotel itself for your stay is not covered. So you're either gonna, use personal funds for that, or you're gonna apply for a travel grant, which I'm gonna get into. On the right, you'll see a screenshot of what the registration page looks like. It's really simple. You just put in your name, your university, pronouns, like what your course is, what your degree is, and it's just like a quick 5 minute max registration process. So you can just go ahead and do that. Here's a QR code that you can scan to get to the website, or you can just search up SciKai Ignite 2024, and it's going to be one of the first pages. So really easy to access as well. In terms of travel grants, we have assigned 36 undergraduate student travel grants and 21 grants for graduate students and faculty. You do have to be a US citizen to be eligible to be able to apply, and grant applications also close September 1st, just like the registration. So if you're an undergrad student, you're more likely to receive a grant if you're Pell Grant eligible, attend a minority serving institution, attend a small university, or first gen, or you attend a community college. And similar for if you're a grad student or a faculty member, if you're attending or teaching at a minority serving institution, if you're attending or teaching at a small university, are or were first gen, or if you teach at a community college, you're more likely to receive the grant. Like we mentioned before, our goal with this conference is to really foster research practices and be able to support underrepresented minorities in psychological researches. So that's something that we want to do. And you can scan the QR code here for the travel grant link, or you can just go to the registration page and it's pretty easy to access from there too. And I think we can also drop it in the chat later for more easy access. So these are just some screenshots from what the travel grant looks like. It's again really simple, 3 parts. First part is just like name, basic personal details. Second is just what is your student status? What degree are you pursuing? Are you first gen? Are you Pell Grant eligible? Just really basic questions. And then the third section is a short essay, 250 words about your financial need. So that should also be a quick process if you're eligible and you want to apply. Yeah, and now I'll hand it over to Quindon.
Yeah, so what will you learn at Ignite? Or more so, what is the reason why you should attend? The Ignite conference's primary focus is to address the need for improved research practices and the need to make research opportunities more accessible for undergraduate students like yourselves. That being said, the conference will provide a variety of presentations, workshops, and trainer-trainer sessions to address these needs. Attendees will also be introduced to the Open Science Foundation initiatives, also known as OSF. And this tool you will be able to learn how to use to enhance your research management and collaboration with other researchers. As well, that being said, you will learn more about how and the concerns and are important and what impact they may have on the field of psychological science. For example, matters of validity and reliability on research findings. Lastly, you will also get the opportunity to learn about SciKai's Network for International Collaborative Exchange, also known as NICE, crowd projects, and what this platform can offer. And about that platform, we'll have Nick and I share our experiences with this year's NICE crowd project.
Yeah, I would recommend. So at the Ignite conference, they'll be touching on these crowd projects, and I would recommend, even if you're unable to attend the conference, to consider participating in next year's project or bringing it up to your research advisor or bringing it back to your labs, because it is a really good opportunity to get involved in research in a very easy way. So every year, SciChi does this crowd project, which is like it touches on in this slide. It's a collaborative cross-cultural project. Done annually by SciChi. This year's project was called The Relationship Between Cultural Dimensions and Perceptions of Victimization by Teachers. Um, and it's a very streamlined way to help students get involved in research. Actually, it's a purpose of the crowd project is to specifically help students get research experience. So a little bit about it. Like I said, I did it this last year. All it required was at my school, we submitted an IRB protocol for the project, and the IRB form was pretty much already written for us because it had been submitted already to another institution. So we just adapted it to my school's requirements. We got approval, and we were required, or we were asked to get between 100 and 250 participants, college student participants. And then we sent them off, and a few months later, we got the data back, and we're told to spend an hour or two just cleaning it up. It was super easy, very streamlined. They had already prepared the Qualtrics survey, so they just gave us the link. And it was really nice. At the time, I was the lab coordinator, and I was able to delegate this to two other undergraduates under me. And it was their first experience in research, and it provided a very streamlined way for them to see the research process without feeling overwhelmed, because that often can happen when well, it always happens in research, I think, but especially as we're getting started. Um, so it's a very neat opportunity for students to get involved. So that'll be talked about at the Ignite conference. But I also just recommend, even if you can't attend the Ignite conference, to really consider bringing that back to your labs for this upcoming. The next year's project it hasn't been decided yet. They're still working through some proposals. But you can stay updated on that. We can drop the link as well in the chat for the web page that has information about that. But I would highly recommend it as a research opportunity.
Yeah, and just to add on to what Nick said, as a transfer student myself, the SciChi NICE project was my first exposure to the research process. And it was an amazing opportunity for me to collaborate with my university's faculty and witness the many complexities of carrying out a research project at the higher educational level. Also, it allowed me to build a rapport with my faculty sponsor and develop a lasting relationship with them. Also, this year's topic was kind of in line with my research interests, so I had the opportunity to really dive into it and really look into the topic of teacher victimization and teacher-student relationships. So next, we're going to talk about the importance of spreading the word about Ignite 2024. So sharing on social media, as you all know, will enable us to reach a wide audience very quickly. I'm sure many of you have learned about this conference through social media. So whether it's Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, or even by email, feel free to spread the word and let others know about what's going to happen in November of 2024. Also, if you're sharing on Instagram, be sure to tag the page at SciChi Honor. Personal invitations, right? Word of mouth are also a great way to spread the word. And with doing so, we encourage you to share your expectations and share your personal enthusiasms towards the conference, what you really hope for, as this can be a way to help others join in. So lastly, we have a Q&A session, and we'll open the floor for questions. Please feel free to raise your virtual hand or tap a question in the chat. Yeah.
I can stop sharing screen and you can just answer any questions anyone has. Feel free to unmute yourself, come off camera, or just put it in the chat if you would like.
Really,
Oh,
Hope is
Mary, we can hear
asking.
you. Yeah, I think Mary was answering that, but I don't think we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I see Hope Bearden asked, how will participants be chosen to attend in person? Is it a first come, first served basis, which I think is a great question. And the answer is a little bit complex. So obviously we have travel grants, which have to be evaluated based on the stipulations that Reedy and Quindon and Nick have talked about today. So those will be the first evaluation criteria that we look for so that we can grant out those. And once we have those divvied out, then we're going to examine multiple different methods of trying to evaluate the best way for getting the most attendance to come. We want to also consider, right, how much travel distance some people have to come and that sort of thing. But in general, you will be oh, thank you, Reedy. Yeah, you will be notified by September 20th if you receive a travel grant, and registrants should be notified by that same deadline. So travel grants and registrants will be notified by the same deadline. If for some reason you can't attend, then you are more than please let us know. And then we're more than happy to then move on to the next person. So we will also have a wait list of individuals that we will move on to for those individuals who then determine that they really can't attend this fall for one reason or another.
I believe there's a question about presenting research.
Mm.
Are you talking about presenting research at the Ignite conference, or are you referring to the crowd project? Oh, is there a page for setting up presentation for Site Club or for Ignite? Oh,
Okay, so Brecken Luss asked about presenting research at Ignite. So this Ignite conference is mostly focused on training. So we have our presenters already slated. This is really focused on getting a training opportunity for y'all, focused on open science practices and helping you get connections with other individuals from across the US. So we will be doing all the presenting. We will not have any presenters outside of our slotted agenda at this time. Maybe in the future, if we wanted to have a bigger Ignite conference, then we can talk about it then. So registration is really just about attending. It's not about presenting, but that's a good question.
No, those are good questions. And I guess this is one of our first Ignite conferences, right? So this is
the first.
Yeah, this is the first. So you guys can come in and give us feedback about what you think as attendees. And I guess within a few years, you might be able to present as well, and we can make it more collaborative. But as Mary said, this is more of attending opportunity. So you're going to come in as undergraduates, and I think that's going to be really valuable, just, understanding how research works and learning from the guest speakers and all the presenters that we have so far.
Okay.
Is the nice product presentation within Ignite? So I think there is a part, a section of the Ignite conference that's going to speak about the crowd project and what I think they've done before, what that process looks like. So we also communicate this, I think, via email, and I think SciChi sends out communication about crowd to a lot of different people. But I think this is going to be a really nice insider scoop, and you're going to be able to interact with people and get information directly from the people who create the crowd projects and are in charge of it. So I think that's going to be a good opportunity. If I'm applying to a travel grant from California, would that decrease the chances of getting accepted? So correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that the main criteria is still, being Pell Grant eligible, minority institution, those things. I don't think distance really matters. So, feel free to apply.
Excellent. And also congrats, Rebecca, on your group's presentation at Psychonomics. I hope that folks are encouraged to check out Psychonomics. If you've never heard of it before, it's mostly focused on cognitive psychology. It's a massive, wonderful endeavor. Definitely worth checking out if you're, already going to Ignite. So consider checking it out and heading that way too. Ooh.
I believe the Zoom live stream link will be sent out after the decisions are made about who's being in person and who's being online. So I think they'll set it up and send it out closer to the conference day, but you'll get it if you register and you're going to be online. So we'll be able to send that to you. Can we present at Psychonomics? I'm not sure. I think Psychonomics is a separate conference, and I think they have their own process for presentations or just how they're gonna work the few days of conference they have. So I think it's probably best to reach out to them. But yeah.
I believe I'm pulling it up right now to double check. I believe submissions are passed for Psychonomics. So if you haven't already submitted, it's probably too late. I'm confirming that though.
Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, just by scanning, I mean, we could look more into it, but just on their website, it says acceptance emails for abstract submissions were already sent a month ago. So it's probably too late, but you can go in yourself and double check.
Great questions, everybody. Any other questions about the process, about what we're going to be discussing, about what you're excited about?
Just sending the links in the chat again in case you didn't get the QR code. But yeah, please let us know if you have any other questions or concerns. And if not, you can reach out to us later if something comes up and you still have questions about something. Yes, I believe this recording will be posted on the PsychHive website.
Yes, it'll be posted with the Ignite information as soon as it's available. Give us a couple days.
Oh, we're excited to potentially meet you as well, Alexandra. Thank you all. If you want to, I don't know, send a little emoji if you're excited about Ignite, or post your little reaction for our end. And then of course, send us questions as they come up. Oh, we do have another one. Priscilla asked, since the conference is one day, how would the travel itinerary work? Would you go out a day before and leave the day after? Yeah, so I think a lot of folks will probably find that is the best way to travel, to come Wednesday, November 20th, and then to leave the day after, which would be Friday, the 22nd. The Ignite conference is slated to end at 5 p.m. So in New York City, you might be able to catch a red eye depending on where you're headed. Not that I would say to recommend that necessarily, but there's definitely going to be some flexibility as far as like at the end of that day, if that's something that you're interested in doing. Awesome. Okay. All right. Well, thank you all of you for joining. Thank you to our lovely ambassadors for their wonderful presentation. We're so excited to see you at Ignite in November. And you'll be hearing from us in late September.
Thank you so much, you guys, for joining. Thanks, Marianne, for setting it up. Thanks, Mary, for helping us answer all the questions. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys. See you in November, hopefully. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.